Okay, so we'll make a start now then. So welcome to this training session, which is Navigating the Free Legal Web. My name is Adam Woloff, and I am the Training and Development Librarian at Middle Temple Library. So So yeah, this session we are also live streaming on the web. So anyone that's tuned in online, welcome to the session. We'll make a start now. Then what you can do is I'll just go through the aims of the session, and if you are streaming online, what you can do is you can go to www.menti.com, and if you enter that code in, you open that up on maybe your smartphone or tablet or another window. You can send me comments, live comments through, and then I can hopefully they'll come up on my screen here, and I can hopefully address some of those things. So if anyone is tuning in now, you can say hello, and then that makes me confident that you can actually hear me. Okay, so these are the aims of today's session. I'm going to highlight the difficulties in finding legal information online and to identify what makes a good website. I'm going to point out and demonstrate good free sites for legislation, case law, and commentary for UK, EU, and other foreign jurisdictions, as well as international law. I'm going to demonstrate the use of free legal gateways, and I'm going to demonstrate the use of free online finding tools, and I'm also going to demonstrate resources for keeping up to date with the law. So to start with, we'll look at then the difficulties in finding quality information online. To start with, anyone can put something on the internet, be an amateur or an expert, from anywhere in the world, be it the United Kingdom or Uruguay. Not that there's anything wrong with Uruguay. They can say anything they like, be it true or false, and leave it there for as long as they like, even if it goes out of date. I don't need to tell you that, or they can change it without warning, perhaps even remove it completely. The internet is a fantastically rich source of information, and it could be described as too rich. And as librarians, we often talk about information overload in reference to this huge mass of information published on the web that legal practitioners and researchers need to navigate. You need to have those expert search skills to be able to find those things online. So these are some of those things to bear in mind. So with this in mind, then how can we trust what we find on the internet? In other words, what are the qualities of a good website? So we'll have a look, just go through a few things now. So think about substance, so the quality of the information on the website and the accuracy of what is being said. Currency, how up to date is the information? When was the page last updated? Is there a clear origin and authority? For example, something like the URL, if it ends in .gov.uk, that means it's a UK government department. .org usually refers to a non-profit making organisation, and you've also got .ac.uk will be for academic organizations, .edu for American academic organizations. So it's not necessarily a foolproof way, but it's a good way of just seeing straight away if a website might be authoritative or a website which you can actually rely on. Does it demonstrate objectivity and lack of bias? Is there a reliable and robust design? Is it easy to find your way around the site? A good sitemap and search function can be good indications of good websites. Okay, next then, these are some of the questions which you can ask yourself when you are finding information on the free web. Think about the what, who, where, why, and when. So think about what is being said. Is the information stated on the website being stated as fact, or is it simply giving something as the author's opinion? If it's factual information, how do you know if it's correct? Is the information detailed enough for what you need? And what evidence is given to back up what is being said? The things that are said on the webpage match what you already know to be true, or are things said which you know or think are incorrect? What other sources can you find to check this information against? And does the webpage itself give sources for the information? Where does it say where the information it has, where it comes from? Think about who is saying the information. Can you trust the person or organization behind the web page? Are they likely to have their facts right? Are they likely to be biased? Are they an authoritative source? Kind of being near the top of Google's search results is no guarantee of any of those things. Kind of, can you easily tell that the person or organization, who the person is behind the website? Or are they trying to hide kind of who they are? Are they a recognized authority on the subject? Do they provide a bibliography of books, reports, articles, or other publications by the person or organizations on the website to show how much they have published? Think about where they are from. So if you found the page through a link on a web search and are not sure where it comes from, look on the homepage. There'll usually be an About Us section or a similar link like that. Does the author give a real-world postal address or phone number? And again, think about the URL ending. So like I said earlier, .gov for government websites, .ac.uk for UK higher education, and .org for non-profit organizations. So think about those things as well. Think about why they are saying it. So once you know who is behind the web page and where they are from, you can ask yourself what agenda the authors might have and therefore how they might bias the information. For example, if you found out the information about a particular drug, is the web page produced by the company which makes the drug, in which case they'll obviously be trying to promote it, or is it by a campaign group trying to get the drug banned? And would therefore present negative information, or are they an independent research institute which would be likely to be more objective? So just think about some of those things. When does the information date from? So given how quickly information on the web can change and how long some websites have been around, always try to check how up-to-date the information is. Does the page itself say when it was last updated? If not, you can try checking the properties or page information options. Does it look like the website is generally being maintained? All the links work, or are you clicking and then you ending up on dead links? Things like that often could be an indication that that the library, the site isn't being maintained. And then, can you check any of the information contained on the website against sources which you know are up to date for comparison? So they're just a few kind of questions to ask yourself when you are going through, when you're accessing these websites online. To people that are just joining us on the live stream, just to note about if you go to the www.menti.com, you can then enter that code 388328. You can use it on your tablet or a smartphone, or open up another window, and then you can ask any questions as I go along, and I'll see those as they come in, and we can do it that way. Does anyone have any questions here in the room? No? Okay, we'll go straight in then now to saving your research and checking websites. So, because we were saying how the information on the web can go out of date quite quickly, it is a good idea to save your results. So the web is quite an unstable place. Websites can be taken down and they can be edited without warning. So you can either save your results online. You can have options where you can save web pages as PDFs that you can save later. And there are also some sort of apps you can download where you can save offline versions of websites. If you try to do searches for those, and you can find that information. Another site you can use is the Wayback Machine from the Internet Archive. This is a website from a nonprofit organization based in San Francisco that allows you to see archived versions of web pages across time. Has anyone used the Internet Archive before, the Wayback Machine? Some of you have, some of you haven't, but I'll demonstrate how that works. And it's my understanding as well that certain US and Canadian courts have said that you can actually use information on here for use admissible as evidence in court. But what you do, the Wayback Machine here, you've got this link from the Internet Archive. You can put the web address. So what I'll do is I'll put the web address for the Guardian in here, the UK version. Let's put that in there. And then you can see here, it's got these archived versions. So that was from 2013, because that's when they had this web address. And you can see the clouds over the dates say when they've created these snapshots. So you've got the so we'll click on here, 24th, I've got a couple of snapshots of February in 2013. You click through there, and then this is the front page of The Guardian on that day. It's not really loaded very well, but that's kind of a way if you wanted to find out what, if you were checking out a website and you knew there was something on there one day, and then you looked months later, weeks later, and it was gone, you can put the URL into here and then find the information, how it stood at that particular point in time. I've used this before for people in the library. Someone wanted to find out the procedure rules, family procedure rules, and from a previous year, and they've been taking them down off the website. But we could go in here and we could put the URL in here, and you could go back and find the rules as they stood the year before the previous year that had been taken off of the website. So that's it's a very useful tool for when the information you need is no longer there. Also think about a Google cache link. So that is where Google create their own sort of archive versions of websites. If your website is not working, the website, sometimes websites go down for whatever reason. I know that some earlier this year, when GDPR came into effect, the Information Commissioner's website, everyone was going on there, so it kept going down. What you can do is you can do searches on Google. So say we'll do, say I was trying to find Amnesty International's website, but it had gone down. You can click here, and then it's got here for the cached link, and that will be a link that they as it appeared on the 16th of October. So if the website, for whatever reason, you can't access it, various reasons, the website stopped working, you can try accessing it that way. Also, it's important to check the currency and the site information. So we went over some of that stuff earlier. You can also, there's two websites here, watchthatpage.com and changedetection.com. I haven't used these before, so I can't vouch for whether they're actually good. Or I've tried to use them, but I found them a bit tricky. But what you can do is you can put the URL into your website, and you get notifications if there have been changes. So if you want to kind of monitor, keep track of a certain website, you can try one of those. That's something you can have a go at. Any questions so far?
Say in the Wayback Machine archive site, and when you put the URL in the search box, what happens if, say, for example, the Guardian has changed their URL address? Maybe before it was guardian.co.uk,
yeah,
then they change it to guardian.com.
Yeah.
Would these two be linked up automatically, or it would make an impact in the search results?
It wouldn't link up automatically. Like you saw there, we did that the guardian.com/UK. Only went back to 2013 because that's when they introduced that URL. But it would be my understanding that if you did put their old URL in there, and if the Wayback Machine, if the Internet Archive had archived that URL, it would work.
So it will work on the accuracy of the URL address.
Yes, yeah, yes, the accuracy of the URL that you put in there.
Right.
Yeah.
In the archive, again, the Wayback Machine, does the website have to subscribe to the project, or is it that it sweeps the? Do you know?
My understanding is that it sweeps the web. It's not people haven't given them permission to do it. That's my understanding anyway. Because last year with the Grenfell. That was this year, wasn't it? Actually, this year with the Grenfell fire. Was it this year or last year? Last year, yeah. The company tried to change the company that was involved in doing the cladding. When the whole thing happened, they tried to change their their website to make it as if the cladding wasn't what they said it was. But people use Wayback Machine to go on there to say, actually, yesterday you said X and now you're saying Y. So people, you can use it that way to, and they've used it in criminal trials in Canada and the US, fraud trials, kind of things like that, where they've said they've used Wayback Machine to say on the website you put this then, and now you've changed it. So as long as the Internet Archive have archived that information, you can find. There's no guarantee that they will, but if they have, then you can go back and find those archived versions of web pages. Any other questions? Okay, next then we'll move on to looking at some particular websites. So you've got the good websites, they're from reputable publishers, and authoritative websites. Kind of many of those subscription databases, so Lexis, Library, Westlaw, Hein Online, Justice, but also many are freely available on the internet, and that's the free sources that we're going to concentrate in the second half of this session. But you've also got those bad websites. They are inaccurate, up to date. They may supply you with unreliable information. They may have once been good, but now they're no longer. They've not updated their information. So they're the bad websites. But you've also got so-called the ugly websites. They're the hoaxes, spoofs, those intentionally misleading sites. So nowadays, kind of the news is always awash with fake news, and fake news here, fake news there. Politicians talk about fake news all the time. Social media kind of inflames these debates. So it's just important to be aware of that when you find things on the internet, just to always be thinking about the accuracy and the authority of what's being said. So two kind of examples here I've got of two sort of so-called ugly sites. You've got this one here, which is a campaigning organization against dihydrogen monoxide, and they're talking about how this is a causative agent in acid rain. It's contributing to soil erosion. And what exactly is dihydrogen monoxide? It's water. Yeah, exactly. So that's something. These kind of websites which are set up. I think this is a joke website rather than actually intentionally misleading site. But you do have. And they're sort of everything's couched in scientific information, and it is all correct. Everything's factually correct, but obviously people aren't campaigning against water. You've also got this site here, feline reactions to bearded men. So this is the improbable research site, and it brings lots of kind of sort of fake research, and again, it's all couched in scientific language. So these are just things to be aware of when you have these spoofs that are out there on the web. Just another story here. You might have all heard of The Onion, which is the satirical news website in the US. In 2012, they named Kim Jong-un as their sexiest man alive. Apparently, the Chinese Communist Party's official newspaper, the People's Daily, allegedly fell for this spoof, and they ran a 55-page photo spread of the North Korean leader when he was declared the world's Onion sexiest man. He was shown riding horses, holding children, and greeting his troops. So don't let that be you. Don't fall for these spoof websites. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so now there are those the good sites. So during the rest of the session, I'm going to highlight some quality websites that, in my experience, are useful for legal research, suitable for practitioners. But also, this is an opportunity for you to share websites that you would recommend as good free websites. So if anyone wants to say any websites that they regularly use, any free websites that they would recommend. Bailey, yeah, of course, Bailey, yeah. So I'll go over some things about Bailey today. Any others?
House,
Sorry?
Company's House.
Company's House, yeah, for financial information, company information, yeah.
The legislation site.
Yep.
Commons Library website for that.
Yeah, they're briefing papers and all the things they publish on that. It's a very good site.
The court website for judgments.
Yep.
Yeah, appeal as well.
Yeah. So I touch on quite a few of those sites today, most of them actually. I don't touch on the House of Commons library site, but I do have a list of over 90 free websites that House of Commons library is included on that site, that list actually. But if you are, what I'll do is I will send that list out to everyone afterwards. I'm still updating some of the URLs and some of it. So once that's all updated, then I'll send that out to you lot, and it's up because I can't cover everything today, obviously. But and if anyone who is listening or watching at home is interested in that list, just send me an email or send the library an email, which you can find on our website, and then I can send that to you. And also I can send people the slides of the session as well if people are interested. I can do that afterwards. If anyone who's watching at home has a recommendation, they can type it into the menti.com. So I'll wait a minute if anyone's got anything to say. Don't think so. So we'll move on then to just a little thing about actually how when you want to start your research on the free web, how would you go about just beginning? So sometimes the best place to go is just to do a Google search or a search on any other open access search engine. So I'll just highlight, I mean, I'm assuming everyone has used Google before, but I'll just highlight a Google advanced search. I don't think really gets used as much as it could do. And what you can do here, it just means you're narrowing down your search and you can bring up other results. And what's the most useful tool on here? One of the most useful tools here is to do the site or domain box. So sometimes a website itself will have its own search box, but sometimes the search engine won't be as efficient or as accurate as Google Advanced Search. You can put the URL in there, and then you're using Google to search that site. And likewise, you can just put the domain in there. So you could put .org.uk, and then just you're only going to bring out results that are from .org.uk. So I'll just demonstrate that. So you put .org.uk in, and then if you want to find out some information about the death penalty from .org.uk site, you're getting just those sites that have .org.uk in their URL, so Reprieve, Amnesty International, that kind of thing. So that's a useful tool from Google. You can also say what sort of file type you want. So this is actually something that I sometimes do. If I'm trying to find inspiration for PowerPoint sessions, I'll search PowerPoint, and then I'll put in the name of a legal research or whatever, and then it brings up PowerPoints about legal research. And you can do that, or you can put in PDFs or an Excel spreadsheet, that kind of thing. So it's only going to bring up those file types. So that's something which you can do with using a Google Advanced Search. Also, you should be aware there are alternatives to Google. Google, obviously, it tracks your use, and it does biased results based on your previous history. So if you've searched one thing one day, if you search another thing unrelated, it's still going to organize results in such a way what it thinks you want to find. And especially if you're using a library computer where someone else has used that computer before you, you don't want what someone else's search to somehow affect the search that you're performing. So do bear that in mind. And some sites are completely private search engines. Come in. So one of those sites is DuckDuckGo. That doesn't track your results. So you might want to try, if you're using a public library computer, you might want to try DuckDuckGo, or just experiment with different search engines. There's also meta search engines, which search across multiple search engines and then create compile those results based on the results it gets from all those other ones. One of the big ones is called Dogpile, I think, and there's quite a few others. If you come to I've got my advanced electronic searching session, which is the 5th of November or the 11th of December. I go into more detail those. Or what you can look at is there's a website here from Phil Bradley, who is a librarian and internet consultant who lists lots of different search engines and when they might be useful for you. So I think this site, though, might be coming down by the end of the year. So I'm going to save this page because it is very useful. So if if you're interested in that, save this page, and it gives you lots of information about the different search engines that you can use. Google isn't the only search engine out there, so do try and experiment with different ones. And sometimes it's a good idea to try a Google search on a particular topic that you know well. Try a Google search, and then try a search on DuckDuckGo or Yandex or Yahoo or whatever, and just see how they compare. And it may be actually you're getting better results on another search engine that you've never used before, because almost everyone just defaults to the Google search engine. Or try one of those meta search engines as well that's going to search across platforms, and some of them actually allow you to do comparisons directly on the page. So you can have a Yahoo search down one side of the page and a Google search down the other, and then you can actually see how they differ. So that's something to try. But I'm going back to Google as well. You can actually create your own search engines, creating a sort of a Google custom search. Has anyone come across this before or tried this before? What you do is you have to have a Google ID, so you have to have a Gmail account. But I'll just quickly go into that. And then what you do is you create your custom search engine. And what you would do is you would put URLs in here, and then you add them to your search engine. Then it gives you an address for your search engine, and it's only going to search across those websites. So if I created one search engine myself, which was about which was just foreign international legislation. So I hold a whole list of sort of my favorite foreign international websites, which I'll go through some of those today, and then I just do a search on that, and then it's going to hopefully make it more focused. I mean, there's still kinks in there, but if you had, say, your top 5 websites for family law, instead of just going into Google and then it's going to bring up results from other websites that you're not keen on or are irrelevant, it's only going to search those 5 websites or 10 websites or 20 websites. So and often some websites themselves will have a Google custom search as their own embedded search engine. So that's something to think about.
Can I ask, have you created a custom one for those 90 web pages?
I haven't. What I've tried to do that, but because of it can bring up some strange results because of the sites that it's searching. Because if you're putting Bailey in there and legislation after UK, it's bringing up. I mean, I've tried doing. There are ways I've thought about doing it. I'm still working on coming up with search engines that would do that.
How confidential would Google keep the custom searches for the customers, whoever have created their own custom search engine?
I think it would track. It would keep that data. Yeah, I mean, something I've just discovered recently is I've only just recently got my own. Got a smartphone, and it's an Android phone. And now Google sends me each month tells me where I've been throughout the whole of the month. So now I can remember. I can see all the pubs I've been to, the restaurants I've been to. So Google is amassing lots of data on people. So it is. Bear that in mind when you are using Google and those kind of things.
You should be able to switch that on.
You can switch it off, but I part of me quite enjoyed seeing where I'd been. It was a reminder of all that stuff I'd done. But yeah, just bear that in mind, that Google is creating data profiles of people and these things when you are using Google. Any other questions or comments so far? Okay, this is just a tip here about framing your actual search when you're phrasing things. So kind of frame things as an answer rather than a question, so that you're actually mirroring what's going to come up in the answer. So instead of saying what is an international wrongful act, you would phrase it as an international wrongful act consists of, because that's more likely to mirror the kind of syntax and semantic patterns that are going to be in the answer. So just think about those kind of things when you are doing those searches. And I do think most kind of studies have shown that people, when they do a Google search or any other search, they really only look at the first page and then look at the first few results. And sometimes the result you need might be on page 5, but it just hasn't come up yet because we haven't been able to translate what we actually want into the terms that the search engine understands. So do play around with what you're actually putting into search engines. Okay, so any questions so far?
On that last we do find a lot of things on the web, indeed on copy, that I find very irritating, that practically any piece of information is conveyed in the form of a question and an answer.
Yeah.
In other words, they can't say simply Thursday is the day of the week or something. They have to ask, what days of the week come after which, and then there's short text after it.
Yeah.
So would you need to put in probably both of those versions in order to see what you're out?
I mean, if you probably put in what is the industrial one for lack, similar results would come up. But it's just the way about thinking how you do formulate yours. And like you say, often if you do ask a question on, say, Google, it will give you an answer. Sometimes it will list lots of other similar questions people have asked. So the search engines have sort of come around to that thinking, that the way things are phrased as questions, and almost like the question and answer. But yeah, so it's about playing around with the kind of searches that you do. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, next then, a tip here is always remember to note the date you last accessed a site and its URL when making notes during your research, because like we said earlier, sites do get taken down or they get changed without warning. So make a note of when you accessed it, and often, certainly when people have to write academic essays, if you are quoting from a website, you do have to put the date you last accessed that site. So it's just a good practice to, when you are doing your research, to note the date you last accessed that site and its URL, so you can access it again easily. Okay. So next, then we'll have a look then at some online repositories of scholarly material. So these sites, where you've got Core here, which has online collections of scholarly material on the web. So there used to be a site, there is a site called Open Door, which is directory of open access research repositories. And they used to have a great search facility, but they've got rid of that now. So this is the one to use. And what this does is it searches across research papers and articles that have been published on open access repositories on the web. So often you can find journal articles that are published in academic presses, and often they'll be put onto their repositories. So what we can do here, I'll do a search. Say we were looking for articles on data protection in the European Union. So we'll put that in, and then see what we get.
Is this the way to bypass paywalls?
Yeah, most of this stuff will be freely available online. Often it has the open door search function was brilliant, but they've got rid of that. You can still go on that site and search for the repositories and then search repositories individually. But this site used to allow you to search across the content. So here you've got articles that are published on. You can get the PDFs of those articles. They're searching those repositories that are available for free online, because a lot of academic articles, they're published in the academic press, but then the university will also upload the article on its own repository that's available online. So you can try that. Another site is Google Scholar for scholarly material. This will you can have content directly for free, but also it will give you abstracts of content as well. So that's and it tells you how things have been cited and that kind of stuff, but you can find. So I'll just search for an article, Roy Good, lots of stuff on commercial law, and it's telling you different article, that's some books, I think, and then how it's been cited, and you can trace information that way. Sometimes it will link to the full text if it is available for free, but if not, it will be on a subscription site. But that's a site you can use as well. Google Scholar also has a database of free US case law, so you can search US case law via Google Scholar as well. I'll just go back into that to show you that again. The case law option here, you can either just search across that, or you can select the courts. And this is actually, I kind of sometimes say it's like the US equivalent of Bailey. So you can find the transcripts of US case law. Okay, any questions? Okay, next then we'll have a look at some specific sites for the UK for legislation, court forms, and procedure rules. So we'll start with legislation.gov.uk, which was mentioned earlier as a good free site to use. So this is the main the home page. And what you can do is you can search by title. You can put the year and number of the legislation in there as well. You can also browse the browse option, find new legislation. What I'll do is I will just go in there with a search. So I'm trying to find the Sale of Goods Act from 1979. I'll put that in there. And you're bringing up the Act, a link to the Act, and then a link to the SI, which brought the Act into force from 1983. So I'll put that in there. And then you've got the green indication there is letting me know that it's up to date. All the changes have been incorporated on or before the 25th of October, which is today. So we can be pretty sure that this is the up-to-date version of the Act. What you can do is you can also do point-in-time searching as well using legislation.gov.uk. You can click, we'll just open up the whole Act, and then you've got show timeline of changes. We'll click that there, and you've got this timeline here, and you can click to see how the Act stood at these particular points in time. It only goes back to 1991 because that's when they uploaded their content for the amended Acts. So you only find those with amendments incorporated from 1991 onwards. You've got the original print PDF, so that is the Act as it was when it was originally passed in 1979. But if you wanted to find out how the Act stood between 1979 and 1991, then legislation.gov.uk is not the best, is not the place to go for that. You would probably have to go to a subscription database, or well, actually, you probably have to go to one of the subscription sites.
I don't want the original version. I can get in PDF form, but I want some later version or the current one. I tend to find I have an enormous difficulty downloading it in a usable form.
Okay.
Apart from doing sort of select and copy individual sections. So have you got any tips?
I mean, what I would usually do is you can, if you do the print options here, the PDF here should be the Act, 27th of September, and there you've got the whole Act there. That should work if you do that. When you go on this print options PDF, you should be able to do that as well for the point in time version, so from 2003 to 2007. I mean, they call it print options. It should really be download options. So you can do it that way. So and actually, this is a bit easier than using the subscription databases because often you have to select the sections separately. But you can do timeline of changes on a section by section basis as well. You don't have to do it for the whole Act. So if you will go back to the table of contents, we'll click into the section, and then you can click show timeline of changes, and then it's telling you this has existed that way from the beginning. But yeah, you can do it that way. But the thing to bear in mind as well is not everything is up to date on legislation.gov.uk. Everything is up to date to at least 2002. So half is up to date to at least 2002, and the other half is up to date to the present day. So I'll just demonstrate the medical act from 1983, and then you've got the red box here, which is telling me that there are changes that haven't been incorporated yet. And what you can do then to actually find out what those changes are that haven't been incorporated is you can go to this box here, changes to legislation, put in the name of the Act there, so Medical Act 1983, and you can see it's telling you what's been applied, the changes, and what's been applied to the document that they have on legislation.gov.uk and what hasn't been applied. And then what you can do is you can just trace the amendments that way. It's a bit more complicated. It's obviously a lot more complicated, a lot more time consuming, but that's something that you can do. Any questions about legislation.gov.uk? Okay, we'll look next on Bailey, but for legislation now, they have, as well as case law, they have lots of legislation. You can click in, they have the same content that you find on on legislation.gov.uk. But if you click into one of their databases, say United Kingdom, you can see the acts of the United Kingdom there, and you can scroll through and you can find them. I think they've got older versions. They've got older acts that maybe you won't find on legislation.gov.uk. So you can click through there. But we'll just try and click one now, and then you've got a hypertext version, and then you've got the printable PDF version as well. So that's another option. And you might find that easier to search or more familiar than maybe legislation.gov.uk. Also, there's Court and Tribunal Form Finder. This is a place where you can go to find out those forms which you might need to use in court. So what I'll do is you can either browse by category. So we'll have a scroll here. Say you were trying to find some bankruptcy and insolvency forms. Have a look. You needed form 4, and then you've got we can get the Word document of the form here, and then you just amend it as you need to. And you can browse through. If you know the form number, that's a lot easier. But if you have to do a search, we'll try. Say we want to find a warrant for committal. We'll put that in there and we'll see what we get. Obviously, we're not getting any results. That is because sometimes the title has to be pretty exact. And this is an opportunity where you can use something like Google Advanced Search. So what I'll do is I'll copy the URL. I'll put it into my Google Advanced Search here, put it in there, and then I'll type warrant of committal, hopefully, and then you're getting the results that way. And it's actually bringing, and where we put the exact same terms in, but nothing came up, but it's coming up on the Google Advanced Search. So if you are using a search engine of an internal search engine of a website and you're not finding anything, try to do a Google Advanced Search. You can either go to the Google Advanced Search and put the URL in there, or you can do it like this, where you put site with a colon, then put the URL in, and then and put your in quotation marks there. So that is another option.
Why didn't it come up on the other one if it's the right word?
It was because the way sometimes they index things is it has to be very specific to what actually appears in the title field. So you saw there, they all had the form number beforehand. So maybe because the form number was there and I hadn't included the form number, it wasn't picking up. It wasn't actually picking it up. Sometimes Google is a bit more kind of intuitive, or it can be a bit more open in how it searches, whereas some of the other searches are much more exact. And if you don't put the terms in exactly how they appear in a certain form of words, then it won't find the information. So that's just something to bear in mind. Any questions so far? No. You've got all the procedure rules as well on justice.gov.uk. So we'll have a look, click on there, and you've got procedure rules here for civil procedure, criminal procedure, and family procedure rules. So what I mentioned earlier is about when I used the Wayback Machine to find old family procedure rules. You can do that. I'll just see if I can demonstrate that now. So the update, it was at last updated, but say you needed an earlier version, just click. Yeah, let's see if I can find it. Go to updates. Can't seem to access it now, but anyway, you can find the procedure rules on the judiciary site. And then there's also the UK Government Web Archive. This is actually sort of the UK government's almost own version of the Wayback Machine, and they have archived websites from the mid-1990s onwards. If you did need some official government information that's no longer, say, on the Foreign Office side or the Treasury site, you can go on the UK Government Web Archive and you can go back and find old versions of web pages. They've got some useful videos on their website as well, which explain how to go about using that site. Okay. Any questions? Okay, next then we'll have a look at UK case law, some general sources. So we'll go into Bailey, which I'm sure most of you have used before and it was mentioned earlier. So we'll go back to Bailey. The case law, you've got the Bailey databases, which we looked at. So that's where you can actually just have a flick through, just actually see the range of material that they have. So they've got databases on a variety of jurisdictions, including European jurisdictions, and they have Privy Council cases as well. So you can get case law from some of the countries which still have the UK Privy Council as its final court of appeal. So I find the best place to start your search on Bailey for case law is to go onto this case law search box there, click through there, and that's just giving you more options, and then you can narrow things down. So say you were trying to look for Privy Council cases. Let's find the Privy Council there. We'll click that, and say we're actually looking for cases, Jamaican cases. I'll just put divorce in, Jamaica divorce, and that's bringing up Jamaican cases that went to the UK Privy Council that were somehow related to divorce, and you can then find those that way. And another interesting, something they're useful thing they have on Bailey's is leading case law by subject. This was through the Open Law Project, where they identified leading cases from the past and made those available for free. I think it was last updated, I think it was 2006, I think. Let's just double check. I'll click in there. Yeah, 2006 when their list was created, so you'd have to use it with caution. But if you are doing any research in particular areas and you do want to find out what some of those leading cases are, sometimes this is a good place to go. And then they'll link through to the transcript that they have on Bailey, but also provide you with citations to the reported versions. So you can look those up either on a subscription database or in hard copy. So that's something to think about if you're not sure what the leading cases are on particular topics. There's also the Courts and Tribunals site. They often link back to a Bailey database. So I'll just demonstrate that quickly. So this lists all of the courts and tribunals. So you can click through. So say you were interested in the Admiralty Court, you wanted to find decisions for that. You can click in to the link. And then if you scroll down, it usually will have a decisions or previous judgments link. Click through there, and this is linked us back to a Bailey database. So that's just maybe a quicker way of finding what you need. If you go onto one of the tribunals, they often have their own databases. So Employment Appeal Tribunal, scroll down to previous decisions, and then you have got the decisions here, which you can either search, do limit by date, limit by category, and subcategories. So if you can't find your case, the transcript of the case on Bailey, then try one of these. If you know the court or tribunal that it was heard in, you can try one of these sites as well. And these, again, they're available for free online. The UK Supreme Court website was mentioned earlier. So they have transcripts of decided cases and also information about current cases. We'll just have a quick look at that. So you've got the current cases here. So that's the cases that are coming up in the court, and you've got the full case details, and then decided cases as well. And you can click through, and then they'll provide you with, I think it will link you back to Bailey, actually. Let's just double click. If you go here, the judgment or the judgment PDF there, so you've got the PDF of that judgment there. Sometimes they link back to Bailey, I think, for some of the older ones.
It's got it there in the list. Third one.
Oh yeah, of course, the judgment on Bailey as well. So you can get the Bailey judgment and the PDF they've published on there. And they usually include a press summary as well. So that's a useful site. If you're also doing some UK Supreme Court the research, you can go on the UK Supreme Court blog. This is an independent blog from members of Matrix Chambers and the law firm CMS. that just provides commentary on new judgments that have come up in the court. I think that was the case we selected, the Nigeria Secretary of State, KO Nigeria and others versus Secretary of State of the Home Department. So you can see there you've got links to it, and they'll provide you with their sort of information. And then they are linking back to the judgment as well. So this is a useful site if you do want any extra information or keeping track of some of the cases that are going through the Supreme Court. And if you need any other judgments, you can try judiciary.gov.uk/judgments page. You can also sign up for an email alert there. And this brings up cases that maybe haven't yet made it to Bailey yet. I haven't made it onto Bailey. Usually there are the rationale behind it, I'm not really sure, but it does tend to have cases that are of interest to the media. So you can see here there's Telegraph Media Group cases, and most of Lloyd v. Google, some of these big cases that are often talked about in the media. So if you can't find your case on Bailey, or you're trying to get one of those other databases, try judiciary.uk/judgments. Then you can sign up for an email alert as well, and they'll send you an alert to when a new case is published on there. Okay, any questions so far? No, any questions about that? Okay, we'll move on next then to some law by subject, to some selected sites. So we'll start by looking at human rights law. So I'll point out first is the HUDOC database. This is the database of the European Court of Human Rights. It's the official database where you can find official versions of the case law from the ECHR. So the database here will go on case law, HUDOC database, and then we'll go click the link there. This is a HUDOC site. It usually will bring up the list of the latest cases, but then you can bring up your advanced search here, and you can either do a free text search for cases, or if you know application number, or the ECLI, which is the European Case Law Identifier. That's usually a new numerical code you can put in if you've got that, or if application number. So say you want to do free text search. Say I want to find cases on the British Gurkhas. I can put that in there, and that's bringing up one case, and you click through, and then you've also got the HTML version, and then there's a PDF which you can download a PDF version there. And a useful thing here is the keywords search. We'll just click that, and what that allows you to do is to select cases which have appeared under the different articles of the European Convention. It's listing just these few here, one here, because that's what this case that I was looking at is for. But let me just clear the search. Can I clear the search? Can't find the key. Just close that and go back. Yep, so keywords. So if you are doing research for something under one of the particular articles of the convention, you can find the cases this way. So click that one, do OK. That's going to bring up and then click search, and that's going to bring up all those cases that were heard that were referring to under that article of the convention. And then you can then narrow down your search this way. So that is some European Court of Human Rights cases. Also, you can search them on Bailey. Sometimes the search function on the HUDOC database can be quite finicky. If you don't have the exact punctuation for, say, on the party names, it might not bring you up any results. So sometimes it can be easier to search on Bailey. And then from here, if you get something like the application number, which is it's a more focused search, get the application number from the Bailey search, and then go on to HUDOC to get the PDF version. Sometimes what they'll do in here is they'll link directly back to HUDOC. So we'll just click in to a case here. And then if you actually click, this doesn't have that one, but we'll go back. We'll do that search we did on British Gurkhas. Actually, we'll do the same search. here, and then we've got to say this is bringing up some other cases, but they're the same one actually. But we'll click that, and then I think it's a second one. It's not. Yeah, you've got the application number, and then you can copy and paste that into HuDoc. Or sometimes they actually are hyperlinked. You can just click the hyperlink, and that'll take you to the HuDoc database. But just sometimes the Bailey database is less daunting with all these other options, and it's not as not such a finicky search as the one you might find on HuDoc. It's still a very good database, and it has a good search function on HuDoc as well. There's the University of Minnesota Human Rights Library. They provide lots of links to human rights documents across the web. They did used to have their own search function, which searched across lots of different human rights organizations, but that doesn't really, I've tried that and it hasn't really worked for me. But what you can do is you can click in, say you were trying to find some refugee and asylum resources, click the link. So you were wanting to find selected US cases on those issues. It's providing you now with a list of selected cases about refugee cases in the US. Click through, and you've got sort of a transcript of that case, and you can read that. And it also will provide you with the link to the reported authority. So this is in the Federal Reporter, the 3rd edition. And then you can either, we specialize in American law in the US. We're surrounded by it now in this room, but you can find that either in hard copy, or you can search it on one of our subscription databases. So if you needed to have the full reported version. And I'll just point out also the One Crown Office Rose Human Rights blog. This includes sort of case commentary, case comments about human rights cases. You can select your category if you do want, say, case summaries. You can do that, and that's going to bring up a number of case summaries. And then you can also do a search box here for particular cases. So if you did want any extra information about particular cases, you can do that there. Rosalind English, who's the Chambers academic, used to write a lot of the case summaries that appeared on One Crown Office Row. So that's another good site to go for human rights material. Any questions? Okay, we'll have a look at employment law next. So there's I showed you earlier the Employment Appeal Tribunal, so I won't click in that again. Actually, no, I'll just click through and just demonstrate kind of a search. Say we're trying to find a search for the Deco Group and Scottish Water. Put that in. So we've got this site here, which is we've got the hit there, and then we can have a look at read the full judgment. So there you can do your search that way. Another site you can do for employment cases is Employment Cases Update. This site is from Bath Publishing, and it provides free access to the full text of key employment law cases as they are published from the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, High Court, and the Employment Appeal Tribunal. It starts from January 2010. Many of these cases will have been sourced from other free sources, such as Bailey. But what you're doing here is you're just narrowing down the search straight away, because it's only going to have employment cases on here. And what I'll do is, if you're trying to search something, only cases, the best thing to do is go into the cases, then make sure cases is in there. But what I'll do is I'll demonstrate that other search that we did on the EAT site, so Deco Group versus and Scottish Water. And it's not bringing up any results. So does that mean it doesn't exist on there? Well, what we'll do is I'll demonstrate a Google Advanced Search for that one. So we'll go into our Google Advanced Search. And then we'll put in our URL, and then we'll do and that's actually bringing up that site the case that we did find on the employment appeal tribunals. But the reason it didn't come up was because they haven't referenced Scottish water in their how they've tagged the site, because it's one of the other respondents. So it's there, but it's not in there, and that's what it's searching. So if you're not finding your results using the search functionality on their website, it may be because they haven't tagged it in such a way, and that's when you can try and use one of those Google advanced searches, and you are getting the results you need. Another useful thing is these keywords as well. You can click the keywords, and then that's going to bring up all the sites that have been all of the cases that have had that been tagged of those keywords about those topics. So that is so that's a useful tool there, and you can click in your case, and then you've got the full text of the transcript. They've also got legislation on here as well, so you can have a look at the latest employment legislation. And we'll have a look then at family law. So you've got Family Law Week. This covers developments in divorce, private child law, public child law, and cohabitation. You usually have to register for this, but it is a free site. You don't have to actually pay for anything. And again, this is another site where you might want to try using a Google Advanced Search rather than searching directly in here, because the search function isn't always the best, especially if you're doing keyword searches. So, but you've got the judgments here, and you can actually browse through the judgments. One of the things that's often tricky about searching for family law is obviously you just have sometimes references be a child. You try and search that. That's very difficult to actually come up with the results. So that's why it's very helpful if you do have the neutral citation to do the search. So that will be this thing here. So if you've got the neutral citation, it does make it a lot easier. But we'll just another thing they have, which is useful on here, is this keywords similar that we saw on the employment tribunals, the employment cases update site. Again, you've got all these keywords, and obviously how large they are means how many cases they've got under those particular keywords. And you can say click Hague Convention, and that's bringing up cases and articles that they have on their site that are in some way about the Hague Convention. And then you can click in and read the judgment or read the particular article. So that is another good website there. Also, there's Family Law Focus. This is a site from John Bulk, who are a UK-based solicitor who specialises in family law. That provides access to a range of materials relating to family law. And there's also a blog, and there's a family law wiki as well. What you can do on here is you've got your case digest, and that allows you to search across, and then it links back to Bailey. But what I'll do is I'll do a search for section 38.6 assessments. And then it's bringing up, again, they're using a Google Advanced Search here, and it's bringing up a number of cases, and then it links you back to Bailey. But what I'll do is I'll just search that actually on Bailey itself and see what that actually brings up, just to demonstrate how sometimes it's better to use a different site. So I'll put that in there, and it's bringing up no results. That's because Bailey, for whatever reason, hasn't sort of indexed it that way. So, but we found the result by doing it on this the Family Law Case Digest site. So sometimes it's, again, that's demonstrating how, if you're not finding the results on one of these free sites, have a look at some of the other options you have out there. Any questions as we go through? Okay, I just won't go through all of these sites. We'll just touch on a few of them. We'll have a look at this media law site, which is good, from Inform, which is The International Forum for Responsible Media, that was set up to debate issues of media responsibility. It publishes or republishes blog posts covering media law, data protection, and press regulation. And it also carries individual case comments on these areas. And there are good email alerts you can do to sort of keep up to date with what's going on. And what you can do, what I find useful is their table of media law cases. You can have a look, and the media law cases are up to date to 2018, and then that's just got these whole lists here, and then you can click through, and then it takes you to Bailey. So if you are interested in media law, that is a good site to go to keep abreast of the cases as they make their way through the courts and have been decided. So you've got media law cases, and you've also got, they did have, they did used to have cases about data protection and defamation, but maybe they've just put them all into this one box. They were a bit out of date, those other ones. But yeah, so this is where you can find some of those media law cases, and it's a useful place to go. Just close some of these tabs. Any questions? I'll just show you another site, Constitute Project. I'll show you this one because it's just a site, I just really like this site. But what this does, it allows you, it reproduces the text of constitutions from around the world, and it also gives you the ability to compare different constitutions, how they approach different aspects of the law of their country. So you can click through, you can scroll through, you can do a search. But say I want to find the constitution for Georgia, and I want to compare it with another constitution. I'll click compare, and I want to compare it with the Kenyan constitution. So I'll do that. I'll do compare. Then over here, I've got the two constitutions next to each other. And then what you can do is you can compare how the different topics, how the different constitutions provide for those areas. So say I want to find out about citizenship and the requirements for naturalization in the constitution of these two countries. And then, let's have a look. And then it should highlight, it's highlighting the sections of those constitutions where they talk about those issues. And you can do this, you can compare more than two constitutions, and you can compare them across all these different topics. Not every constitution will necessarily have all of these topics in their constitution. So you sometimes it'll come up with no provisions. But if you are interested in anything like that, then this is I think this is a very good website there. Any questions? No? Okay, well, next then have a look at EU and European resources. What is very useful is all of the official documents from the EU are available for free online. So you can get everything via EULEX, which has EU legislation and case law, and is the official source of the information. They don't publish anything in hard copy anymore. The official version that has legal effects is on EULEX. So EULEX has EU legislation and case law. Curia is the site of case law only, but you'll also get that case law on EULEX as well. So I'll click into EULEX and we can have a look at that. So we'll just select our language. So we'll do English. They've just had a redesign of their page. So you can just scroll through the case law of the EU, EU law, so the actual either treaties or their consolidated acts or legal acts. And you've got the basic quick search here. If you know the year and the document number, then the best thing to do is to do a search through here. So what I'll do is I'll demonstrate a search for the EU directive that was from 2015, and it was Directive 720. Directive 720. And here I'll just make, because I know it's a directive, I'll put directive in. If I didn't put directive in, it would bring up all of the documents that have been tagged, that are referenced, 2015 720, but either regulations, case law, those kind of things. But I know it's a directive, so I'm going to click the directive. So it's telling me it's in force. So I can click there. And You've got the official journal. That's the version which has the legal effects, so the authentic version. You've got the full text in HTML there. You've got a summary of the legislation. So if you didn't want to have to read through the whole thing, you can have a summary to see what it's actually about. And then importantly, you've got this national transposition. EU directives have to be transposed into the member states' law, whereas regulations which have immediate effect, they don't need to be transposed, whereas directives do have to be put into the domestic law of each member state. In the UK, that is done by statutory instrument mostly. So you can scroll down here and you can see how the national implementing measures for the different countries. We'll scroll down to the UK. There's 5 implementing measures, and this was the directive that mandated the 5 pence charge for plastic bags. So you can then find the statutory instruments that actually brought that directive into UK law. And what you can do, it doesn't actually link directly to it. The text is not available, but then you would just search that on your legislation.gov.uk to get the full text of that statutory instrument there. So that is how you can use ULEX. If you are interested in finding out more about some of the EU legal databases, in the new year we will be running training sessions on EU law, so using ULEX and using Curia. So I'll just click briefly into Curia. They've also been have had a redesign as well. The search function actually is exactly the same as it used to be. So you've got the case number or names of parties you can put in there. I'll just click there and show you the advanced search box. This is their advanced search box, which is exactly the same as it used to be, but the actual design itself is slightly different. But if you are trying to find the case law as it appeared in the European Court reports, which are now online only, I think 2002 onwards, you can go case law here, find online reports of cases, and then say you wanted the law reports general, go for the Court of Justice, and then you've got from January 2012, it all closes up, and then you can find, so we'll go in here, and then if it's got this red seal on it, that means that's the official version of the case. If it doesn't, then often that means it's the transcript and it hasn't been published yet in the EECR. So click through there, and then that takes you to the official version of the case. Any questions about that? No. Okay, we'll have a look then just at this ECLAS, which is the European Commission's library catalogue. And this actually works almost like a free journal index. Oh, it's not working, so I won't look at that. Their server's temporarily unavailable, so we'll leave that. But that can work as almost a free journal index, in that you can search for particular journals and it will tell you titles of journal articles, and it will tell you where you can find the journal. It won't necessarily link you to the full text, but you can then search that on a subscription database. Okay, next then we'll just have a quick look over some of these foreign and international resources. The web is a rich source of a lot of foreign and international legal material. One of the places you can go is ASIL, which is the American Society of International Law. That has a lot of excellent free resources on its website. So I'll just have a quick look in there. Oh gosh, it's not working. I will click on here. You can find they have online resources that cover international law. They have these ASIL insights, which articles on international law stories, and you can search things like case law as well, and it brings you up comments on case law. Seems to have frozen. Close some of these. I'll just do a search for ASIL. Yep, so you've got this site here. You can find out a whole host of information. So signature topic, international law topics, you can click in, and then you've got videos, all sorts of things on here. So ASIL is a good site to use. another site you can go for is, is this totally frozen? Yeah, to reload that. Sorry about that. Just go back in. Okay. Okay, just click that one again. So that's the Electronic Information System for International Law. That is provided by ASIL, which it's a gateway site, international law website, and its stated aim is to link to the most authentic online versions of legal documents. So the front page here is where everything is put in its sort of separate subject columns. You can scroll down, you can sort of browse through and find the different international documents. And then, so say we wanted things on air and aviation. Just taking its time there. Just go back. Try another one, international criminal law. Okay, so it's being quite slow, so I'll just stop that for now. But what you can do is you can browse through to find the documents you want, and it usually will provide you with like a summary of the document and then link to the most authentic source on an external website. So usually it'll be on one of the websites for the bodies, the official bodies that provided these international agreements. One of the things that's can be a bit, I find the actual search functionality quite poor on here. So this is another site that I would use, do a Google Advanced search for to find the information that I need on this one. But yes, you find what you want, gives you a short summary, and it'll give you a URL to an external website that will provide you with the full text of that document. I'll just see if it works. I'll try again. Private international law. No, we'll just leave that for now because it's being quite slow. I'll just close some of these as well. And then you've got Worldly. So this is from the same people that bring you Bailey and Ostley and Canley and all those other free access to law movement sites. This is basically brings together everything, all of those sites in one sort of search interface, and allows you to search across Worldly databases and also databases on all those other sites as well. Or you can have a look, we'll click all countries, then it tells you these are countries where they have information for. If it's got the asterisk, that means they have no databases yet. But we'll just click through, we'll have a look at Japan. And then what you can see is it will link you to the databases that they have on the Legal Information Institute website. So here you've got the databases they have on Asianly, but also it links you through to these sort of gateways as well, and you can find out other sites. Sometimes the sites that are on Worldly, the databases that are on Worldly, or otherwise databases which are external. So often the official databases of that site. So I went into courts and case law, and you can then click through to some of these databases. Often it says they're in only in the language of the country of origin, but sometimes they will be in English as well. So it's a good thing to do, just have a look at Worldly, just to see the extent of the information that they have. For some jurisdictions, they won't have much information, but for some there'll be quite a lot of information on there. So if you click all databases as well, that then tells you for the different continents and different jurisdictions, all of the database that they have via these free access to law movement sites. So you've got Africa there. We'll have a look at Europe. It's most of the databases where they have the most comprehensive information are usually for in common law jurisdictions. So, but you will still find things for. So you see Europe's the Cyprus and Malta are big jurisdictions, but you're not going to have a huge amount for say Portugal, you just got one database on the global legal information network. So this is just a site just to have a check, just to have an explore around. And then the International Court of Justice, where you can find transcripts of cases from the ICJ. So that is another site which you can look at if you're looking at international criminal case law, international case law. Any questions? Okay, I'll highlight now just some of these databases where you can source foreign legislation, and this will usually be in English. Some of these are very good databases, actually. So you've got they're from the official body. So this is from the WTO, Doing Business Law Library. I'll just click into a few of them, and we can just have a look at what the kind of stuff they have. So you can choose your either you can choose the you can choose the jurisdiction, or let's say choose economies, so they mean the jurisdiction, and then you can also choose the individual laws. So if you're trying to find customs laws, you can click through, create a report, and that's then listing all the countries' custom laws there. And then say you're interested in the Customs Bill of Bhutan, and click through, and then that's providing you with the PDF of that customs bill. So one of the things you have to bear in mind is you don't know, you have to then do extra research to see, was that in force? Is it still in force? All those kind of things. But it's these databases are very good for that kind of thing. Ecolex is where you can find environmental law. Fishlex is where they've got law of fisheries and also maritime delimitations, that kind of thing. International Center for Non-Profit Law that's a independent organization that publishes PDFs of foreign and international foreign legislation, and you can do a search for there. Again, you need to with caution whether it's still in force. So we'll just have a look at Argentina, and then you've got a number of these laws here, and you can have a look, and you can also do a search up there for specific laws. So that is another useful site. And then WIPOLEX from the World Intellectual Property Organization. And this is a very good site. I find this is very good for finding civil codes of countries, and also criminal procedure codes, that kind of thing. So this is, so I'll just do, say, a full text search. I'll do Japan Civil Code. And then you've got the Code of Civil Procedure, and you can click through, and then you've got the full text of the Civil Procedure Code of Japan. So they have a whole load of information on WIPOLEX. So this is definitely a site I would recommend. Looking at. Any questions about any of that? Okay, next then we'll have a look at some of these finding tools. So this will allow you to access websites, allow you to access material that might be available in other libraries or other sites. So this is the FLAG, which is a foreign law guide. This is brought to you from the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies Library, and that is a database of collections of foreign law that are in UK libraries around the country, and details the size and extent of the individual collections. So if you are trying to find a law of a particular jurisdiction and you're not sure where it is, you can use this database to find it. So say you're trying to find the law of Bahrain, we'll put that in there, and this then tells you it's different details of types of information that you need. So say you were trying to find the official gazette, click in, and then it's telling you where that is. That's in the Arab World Documentation at the University of Essex, and it's telling you the accrual status is closed, so that means they're no longer adding to that collection. But if it says open, that means they're still adding material to that collection. So you can click in the different links, and then to find. So this is from the Durham University Library, closed as well, and then you can. And the in libraries are also on this database as well. So and what you could do is you could do a library, we'll do it in a temple library because it's come up there. And then you could put in, see if they have anything from Bahrain, because I think Bahrain is a Commonwealth jurisdiction. Or... Anyway, we'll click that. And then, yeah, in temple library have some information on Bahrain. So you can try that way. They did it tells you when they last updated. That was in December 2017. That's what they're saying there. So that's fairly recently. So you can find that information there if you're trying to find the resources. There's the FLAIR Index to Treaties. That has a searchable database of basic information of over 2,000 treaties. It provides citations and links to the full text where available on free websites. They're mostly multilateral, but have some bilateral treaties as well. So we'll just have a look at that quickly. Say you were trying to find an old treaty here. We'll do Westphalia. And then you've got the Peace of Westphalia Treaty, and it's got the different web versions you can click to, and it gives you a bit more information. And you've also got that eSeal link that the site that we were looking at earlier, and I wasn't showing up there, I couldn't do it. But here, then I can demonstrate what it looks like. It's giving you the short description of it, and then you've got the link. So the Yale Avalon project is another good source of a lot of information on law of diplomacy and that kind of thing. And then there's another site there. So this links you if you're doing any treaty research. The FLAIR Index to Treaties is very good. Also, LawSite, which is a cross-jurisdictional case citator. So this is a free case citator where you can find information about cases and that kind of thing. So I'll do a search. Sorry, this is brought to you from the Free Access to Law movement. I'm doing the wrong thing. Free access to law movement. So the people that bring you bail, I think it's hosted on OSLI's server, which is the Australasian Legal Information Institute. So we'll have a look. So this was a leading case in the UK. So we'll click the case that we need, and then it will link you through to cases that refer to that case. And then you scroll down, you've got law reform reports referring to it, and also law journal articles referring to it. And majority of these are going to be open access. You can see where the full text is available, say on OSLI or Legal Information Institute of India, PACLI, which is the Pacific Legal Information Institute. So that's a good site for a good citator, basically. And then we'll just click through to that full text of that particular site, and that's taking us to SAFLI, which is the South African Lee. So you've got that there, and that's then linking you to the information on LawSite. But then you can click there. The citation will then take you to the full text on SAFLI. So that's LawSite. Any questions? Okay, we're near the end. I'll just speed through some of these. These are some of the law gateways. This is where they'll provide, usually libraries will have provided you with annotated links to certain websites. So Middle Temple Library, we have our version, which is links for lawyers. That has a very good database linking a resource list for Brexit, material related to legal implications of Brexit. So you can click the Brexit link, and that's a whole host of sites you can access online, free sites about the legal information, legal implications of Brexit, and also Brexit bibliography on the side. There is Access to Law, which is from Inner Temple Library. That is, so if you are trying to start maybe your research in a particular topic, you can access one of those databases. Eagle Eye, which is from the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. Again, you can go in there. I'll just demonstrate that quickly. You can click the Eagle Eye database. Let's just search the Eagle Eye Internet Portal for Law. This is the thing that's good about these sites. Instead of going straight into a Google search, which might bring up sites that aren't very good or not very authoritative, and here someone has actually looked at the site and said, actually, that's quite a good site. So you can filter things, or filter by resource type, filter by country. So say you are trying to find sites from Gabon, you can put Gabon in there, and it's then bringing up certain websites that are that have Gabonese law on them. So it gives you a little description, and then you can click through. So that's how you'd use these legal gateways. So Middle Temple has links for lawyers, Eagle Eyes from Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, Access to Lawyers from Inner Temple, and Law Links, that is from University of Kent, Signposts for Legal Research. That's geared more towards academic research because it's from the University of Kent and for students, but it's still useful. And we already showed you Worldly and how you can find out those gateway when we saw the Japanese case law from external sites. And also there's Global X, which is from the New York University Law School, NYU Law Global, and that provides research guides for various jurisdictions. If you are starting your research in a new jurisdiction or not sure about where you would look, you can go there and it will give you some information about the legal system and where you can find the legislation and court reports, that kind of thing. Next, then, I'll just quickly go through keeping up to date of the law using journal alerts, blogs, and Twitter. A good site is this journal table of contents, which is which provides free access to the tables of contents of over 12,000 journals, some of which are on, it has nearly 30,000 academic journals, and there are 12,000 which are on open access, and there are about 1,000 law journals included here. What you can do is you can sign up for them to send you emails when new journals come out with their table of contents, and then if it's a open access journal, you can just access it, but if not, you have to go to a subscription database. But it's a good way of keeping track of developments in certain areas. So just do subjects A to Z. We'll find law. So law, we have over 1,000 journals on there, which you can then sign up to get the table of contents sent to you. And if it's got open access there, that means that is completely free journal you can access. So Alaska Law Review. A lot of the American law reviews are open access because they're published by the, you can see the different articles here and you can click through, and then you've got the full text. It'll click you through to the database there, and you've got the abstract, and then the download. You can download the PDF. So Journal of Table of Contents is a good site to go to. A directory of open access journals is similar in that it has a directory of lots of journals that you can access for free online. There are about 130 law journals on here. So you browse subjects, law, view those law journals. The journal's 215, it says there, added some new ones, and they're just the different articles. So you can click the journals, and then you can just scroll through. And a lot of them are overseas journals, foreign internet or foreign material that might not be in English, but it's still a place to look to get those open access that you don't have to pay a fee for. Again, blogs are very good for keeping up to date with the law. I mean, I've touched on some of those in the sessions already. I mean, I'm kind of glad the term blog hasn't really made it into the mainstream because it is quite an annoying term. But you can go on this blog search from justy.com, which lists a number of blogs, and it has the most popular blogs. And you probably might notice the Current Awareness weblog, which is the blog from Inner Temple Library, which is a very popular blog. And it's a very good blog for keeping up to date with information that's going on. The SCOTUS blog. It's very American centric. So most of these are American blogs. What you can do is if you go here and then look at countries here, and if you want to narrow it down to a particular jurisdiction, then you can do United Kingdom, and it's got a list of UK blogs, web blogs that are related to the law, and Current Awareness blog is the top blog there because it's one of the most popular blogs. It's there ranking this week 6 amongst the whole of all the blogs on there. But again, this is a good place if you want to find good blogs to keep up to date. See, we looked at Inform earlier. That's on there. The Barrister blog is a good blog. You can keep up to date with things to do with a whole variety of things. And I've also linked you to, there's the Law Board guide. Law Board is from City University, and there's a nice short video there which gives you tips about how you would use maybe Twitter to keep up to date with cases and that kind of thing. So it's a video which you can look at in your free time. Final thing is just other ways you can keep up to date with the law through email and web updates. You can sign up to case law updates from the ICLR. I showed you judiciary judgments where you can sign up to alerts. You can sign up to things on Law Brief Update as well, providing you updates on cases. They also have summaries of cases available on their site. You can also set up your own Google alerts, so you can get notified when things in your specific thing you're interested in, they'll get sent to you. But the important thing there is to be specific. Otherwise, you're going to get lots of random things that you're not interested in. And you could also try and set up an RSS feed to keep up to date with the website's content. So you'll need to have a feed reader, and then you have your I don't use RSS feeds. Some people find them very useful. I mean, I find them kind of annoying, but I mean, that's just something to bear in mind so you can find out about when the website is being updated. Okay, that is just about it. So does anyone have any final questions?
Remind us when your next session.
The next session, there's one on advanced electronic searching, which is on the 5th of November or the 11th of December. So that goes into how to search subscription databases and free databases, and using some of those web searches, but using things like Boolean logic, how you'd use language to bring up different results, broadening or narrowing your results. So that's coming up in the end of this year. But next year, we usually run sessions on EU law, European member states law. We touch on that as well, and also American legal research, usually in the beginning of the year up until about March. And then we often do refresher sessions of those sessions that we run in the autumn and winter. Anything else? Okay, well, you can contact us at library@middletemple.org.uk if you have any questions about this, or if you need maybe a one-to-one session or any particular legal research sessions you might find of interest. You can let us know, and we can do that for you. I hope this was useful. If you can fill out one of the feedback forms, that's good for us when we think about offering new training and other training. So please do think about doing that. But thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.